it is. Welcome to the thing that you know, the thing that you love. You didn't see my shoulder though. It's me, it's Popcorn Poppy. If you know who, if you don't, let me tell you that this is what he looks like. Hello, and welcome back to Popcorn Poppin', y'all. The live-ish version, if you will. How have y'all been? Have you been going to the movies? I told you to go to the movies. That was your homework a couple weeks ago. It's a couple weeks after the Oscars. Some movies have come out. We're going to talk about them. That's the show. What up, doe, and welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live-ish, your ultimate movie, TV, and streaming guide. There's too much content in the world, and you can't be wasting your time. So let me waste my time for you by watching all that looks vaguely interesting in everything cinema and let you know what's poppin' and what ain't. Tonight, we'll discuss Ready or Not 2, Project Hail Mary, They Will Kill You, Nick and Mike and Alice. Actually, I think it's Mike and Nick and Alice, but Mike and Nick are kind of like very similar, so I might have fucked up on that. But first, we're going to discuss a little movie called Hoppers. That's right, Pixar has come out with a new movie. So full disclosure, I am fully aware that I'm a 34-year-old man critiquing a kid's film, but it is Pixar, okay? Pixar is for the whole family, and it's interesting watching these films as an adult when it all started in my prime as a kid. Me, their target audience, when I was a kid. So I think I'm allowed to have a say-so. Plus, I can let you know if your kids should see it or not. What's Hoppers about, you may ask? A 19-year-old animal lover uses technology that places her consciousness into a robotic beaver to uncover mysteries within the animal world beyond her imagination. This film was directed by Daniel Chong, who did a film and I think TV series called We Bare Bears, which I had heard of, but I'd never seen. It stars Piper Curda as the main protagonist. Also has Bobby Moynihan, Sam Richardson, John Hamm. He's in everything. Kathy Najimy and Aparna Nancherla. And if you know this show, you know that I am terrible at pronouncing names. So I apologize if I fucked up. So we're not going to bring Bucky in here quite yet. We're going to bring him in for the spotlight film. But is this film poppin' or not? The answer? It is poppin', actually. This is the first Pixar film in a long time to have a trailer catch my attention and stick the landing upon viewing. Hell, it's the first Pixar movie I've finished in a long time. So let's look back at when Pixar may have fallen off. I'd say the general consensus is that Pixar's first miss was The Good Dinosaur back in 2015. In all honesty, I had never seen it. For me, I didn't care for cars. I saw the trailer for 2 and 3 and was certainly more intrigued, but even though the point is to be imaginative, the idea of a society of talking cars was really stupid as hell to me. And everyone was like, what, you didn't like it? What, you didn't like it? I didn't like holes either. What, you didn't like holes? I hear Roxy all the time saying, I'm tired, Grandpa. That's too damn bad. That's too damn bad that I just don't like the movie. I didn't really like the book either, so it wasn't for me. I also didn't love Monsters University. Finding Dory was aight. It was a serviceable send up to Finding Nemo, but it didn't touch Finding Nemo. And there were others that I didn't absolutely love, but I did not finish Luca, Turning Red, or Elemental. Sure, Inside Out 2 was dope, but it didn't touch the first one like Toy Story 2 or 3 did for the respective original. I also didn't even try Elio yet. And Lightyear wasn't that bad, y'all. I kind of liked it. Actually, let's get back to Hoppers. There was a midpoint drag when she turns into a beaver and meets other wildlife animals and critters and learns the rules that made me kind of check out of the film. It's basically introducing society. And I noticed in the trailer when it was like, this, eat, live, and live to eat, and circle of life, all that bullshit, I was starting to fall asleep. But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. I didn't quite quit the film, but I was bored. Then the third act came around with the beaver meeting the mayor. From there on, the film was gold. I love the difference between what humans see the animals are like when they talk with beady little eyes versus them being translated with wide eyes. So basically, if we're looking through the human's perspective and they look at the beavers and the other animals, they have beady little eyes and you hear and that's like them talking. But then we're through the wildlife's eyes, and all their eyes are kind of like what you're seeing there, and they're speaking English because we can understand them. It's a really cool little transition to help you figure out what they sound like and what they're actually saying and what the humans are seeing as well. The car slash shark scene, the chase scene, was no joke one of the best car chases I've ever seen. I absolutely loved it. For that alone, I give this a poppin'. I definitely give this extra butter medium. I kind of want to give it a large, but it's not one of like the top tier Pixar films, but it's definitely a really good return to what we want Pixar films to be today. Moving on to Ready or Not 2, here I come. After surviving one deadly game, Grace and her sister, Faith, must now outrun four rival families competing for a powerful throne. Winner takes all. This one was directed by Matt, just like the original, Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillette, who did Scream 5 and 6, Abigail, and Ready or Not 1. So, how was this film? Poppin' or not? Poppin' again! 2 for 2. That's pretty cool. This dark comedy horror thriller ride delivers on fun deaths, bloody laughs, and surprisingly, great acting, especially for like a horror comedy. Samara Weaving is no stranger to the horror game with her previous work in Scream 6, Borderline, Mick G's babysitter films that you can watch on Netflix. Those are actually pretty good, by the way. I dug them both. A lot more comedy than horror, but still fun. And the upcoming Over Your Dead Body, which will actually be an American remake of Norwegian, German film. I can't remember, and I can't remember what it's called. But when we do a review on this film, I'm actually going to go over the best American remakes of original films. It's going to be a fun topic. But anyways, let's get back to talking about Samara Weaving. She is considered a Scream queen. And her scream ain't no joke. Let's see if you can hear it. Yeah, like I said, no joke. So, yeah, she screams well, but she's also excellent at acting traumatized, saying the word fuck, and working out her issues with her estranged sister Faith, played by Catherine Newton, who you may recognize from Detective Pikachu, Freaky, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and she does a serviceable job in general as a sister who is tired of trying to win the affection of her sister. She felt like she's been missing for years, but embodies a character that never gives up on her either. We also have other players like director David Cronenberg, super weird cameo in a small role, Elijah Wood in a bigger role, and Sarah Michelle Gellar in a huge role as one of the main villains. We haven't seen much of Gellar in recent years besides Buffy, obviously years ago, but she's been popping up here and there in the short-lived Dexter Original Sin series, which really shouldn't have been canceled. That could have gone on for a few seasons. And I was kind of against that idea, but it was dope. I liked it. She was also in the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, which wasn't very good. But we also have Sean Hattasey. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. He's been in the game for a while, and he actually steals the show from from Sarah Michelle Gellar as a great villain, although he is like the bigger bad and is developed that way. But he almost stole the show from Samara Weaving when it comes to acting wise, because I'm like, holy shit, this guy's really good. He's almost stealing the show. You may remember Sean from John Q, Alpha Dog, and currently on The Pit. Sure, you'd think that Satan worshippers would be threatening, but this film and its predecessor had goofy villainry and not very sadistic ones. Enter Sean Hattasey's Titus. There's a turn from him about halfway through the film that carries through organically, and I was very impressed. Overall, if you're looking for a fun time without being too serious, definitely check out Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Hopefully we get a third, but you can check this one out in theaters now, and if you haven't yet, I'd recommend watching the first one prior on Hulu. I give Ready or Not 2 a medium with butter. It's not a large, only because I kind of wanted it to be less silly and lean more into the horror. Don't get me wrong. Again, it gets kind of serious with Sean Hattasey's villainry. Like, you're like, fuck, this guy's not playing. But I just wanted a little more horror. And I refuse to shame the film in its silliness. I was just impressed that the sequel held up better than the just okay original. So props to you on that. Before we move on to Project Hail Mary, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with some more stuff. If you're cool with that. Are you cool with that? Are you cool with that? Are you cool with that? Because I forgot to add the commercial, so let's go ahead and get that in there.
Sounds or noises actually make you feel horny?
Sounds. Well, the nasty noises that make women bite their lips are as follows. The sexy sounds of me unzipping my pants.
Ooh, ah.
The sexy sounds of me ripping the buttons off of my shirt.
Ooh, ah.
The sexy sounds of me tearing your underwear from your now naked body.
That's gonna be expensive. I just bought that.
The sound of me paying for the torn underwear that I did not mean to tear.
You're gonna need more cash. These panties are from Fenty.
Seriously? The sound of jingling change. The IOU that I fill out to you to pay for the rest of those extremely expensive panties.
Keep the change. Just Venmo me.
All right, that sounds like a plan. Hello there, loving lovers and broken hearts.
Yeah, you right there. I'm talking to you.
Don't be afraid to get your hands a little bit.
Oh, sexy.
I'm the Barry Brown.
Ah.
What are you watching, you may ask? God! Barry Brown's 2026 Sex Electric Valentine's Day Special. And that's not contagious, right?
I never said that.
Satisfactory, baby.
Wow, that looks amazing. Be sure to check out Barry Brown's Sex Electric 2026 Valentine's Day special only on the Popcorn Poppin Productions YouTube page. Like, subscribe, comment, and have a sexy time, everybody. All right, now we're moving on to our spotlight film, Project Hail Mary. This has been the toast of the town as of recent. A lot of people have been talking about it, a lot of great reviews for it. But let's learn a little bit more about the behind the scenes. So this one was directed by Christopher Miller and Phil Lord, who you may know from producing shows like Method and Red, How I Met Your Mother, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Last Man on Earth, and films like Cocaine Bear, and most famously, the Into the Spider-Verse films with Spider-Man himself, Miles Morales. Super dope films. But they directed Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, 21 and 22 Jump Street, the Lego Movie, and that's it so far. Project Hail Mary was also written by Drew Goddard, who wrote for Buffy and Angel, Cloverfield. He was the creator and showrunner of most of Daredevil first series and first season. He also wrote The Martian. I'm going to be talking a lot of shit about The Martian, so be prepared. He also co-wrote and directed Cabin in the Woods, and he wrote this one. So, Project Hail Mary is about a science teacher named Ryland Grace who wakes up alone on the spaceship light years from Earth. As his memory returns, he uncovers a mission to stop a mysterious substance killing the sun and saving Earth. An unexpected friendship may be the key. This film is based on the novel by Andy Weir. So, poppin' or not? Let's head over to Bucky and make sure he introduces himself. How you been, Bucky? It's been a long time. Yeah, that's you. That's good to see you, buddy. It's good to see you. So, Bucky, you got to tell us, buddy, is this film poppin' or not? Not poppin'. That is a damn dirty shame. But I'm also not surprised because I make the show and I watch the film. Now, again, remember, this is of my opinion, and this movie was critically acclaimed. It's on IMDb's top 250. I'm pretty sure it's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Just tons of great reviews. So this is just my opinion, okay? Now, there are 5 elements that I'd like to do with Spotlight films. Element number 1, story and script. Story was absolutely nothing special. We've seen this story 1,000 times in films like Sunshine, Armageddon, Interstellar, E.T., etc. The script was bland as fuck. I can't say I liked anything about it. I give this element a small popcorn. Don't go away yet. Element number 2, acting and character. As a Ryan Gosling fan, I'm a fan, but I wasn't exactly sold with an idea of only Ryan Gosling doing this role. He didn't do bad by any means, but for me, the role could have been played by someone else. Oh, not anyone else, but just someone else. I can't really think of anyone. I had said to Novocaine, shout out Kid Rax, that Jim Carrey would have been more interesting, but it doesn't have to be like a goofy actor. And he does comedy well. It just, I don't know. I feel like they could have figured out someone else. I'd say when it comes to a comedy film like this, lean more into a comedy actor that can make the script shine just a bit more. Again, because I didn't like the script. Having said that, no one was bad per se. So there's that. The alien was cool. Remind me of my dog. He was fun, like a Disney sidekick is fun for merchandising purposes for kids. I give this element a medium popcorn, mostly because of the alien, and Ryan Gosling didn't do necessarily bad. The third element is direction and production. Cinematography was the film's strongest element. It's a beautiful film with excellent shots. The mission scene where they're retrieving a sample from the alien planet was thrilling, and the score was great with that particular scene. The rest of the film, I didn't think much of the score. And I'm not really a music guy when it comes to films, but the more films I watch, the more critical I get, obviously, because I'm hosting the show. Everything else was just not the best, but I'll lean on the film, on the cinematography aspect for this and give it a large popcorn for this element. The feels is the fourth element in figuring out a Spotlight film and how I'm going to rate it. I was not feeling anything watching this. I didn't feel a thing except for the thrills of that one scene. So I give this a small with butter, I guess, this element. I don't need to rate each element, but we're on to the fifth element, and it is not Bruce Willis or Mila Jovovich. It is the entertainment. I was not extremely entertained of this film outside that one scene. The film was about 2.5 hours long, and you could have easily cut it down to 1.5 hours. And this is by someone that makes 1.5 hour long episodes of critiquing movies instead of you just going to watch one of the movies I critique. Again, 2.5 hours long. You could have cut 1 hour out of this movie easy. In conclusion, critics and audiences rave about this film, so I may be the minority. I always am. But I just didn't find anything particularly special about it. And yet, I love the directors and I love the actor. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller can do wrong, apparently. I don't think this means they did wrong. They just didn't do spectacular with this. And that's just by me. Maybe I just don't like Drew Goddard because I did not like The fucking Martian. I hated that movie. I didn't hate it. I hated how much attention it got. And it is true. If you watch my show, you can tell I will hate on something because my fault is comparing it to previous works. When you watch this movie, all you're going to think about is Interstellar and The Martian and E.T. and, those other comedy aspects. But I thought Interstellar was overrated. I thought it was a fine space movie, but people were saying, oh, you didn't like that movie? I loved it. Love is the most powerful. Shut up. Shush. And I've said this so many times on the show. The Martian was nominated for so much shit, and it just wasn't that great. Matt Damon in space, that's a fun comedy, but it just wasn't maybe I don't like space movies. I love Gravity, and people hate Gravity. I don't know. Anyways, I rate this one a small popcorn with butter. The buttery bits for the cinematography and that one scene alone. Again, go ahead and go see it and just tell me I'm wrong because I feel right, even though everyone else is telling me I'm wrong. Next up, They will kill you. They will. Well, they'll at least kill a woman who takes a job as a housekeeper in a New York City high-rise. Unaware of the building's history of disappearances, she soon realizes the community is shrouded in mystery. And also, she's mysterious. She has a reason she's going to this high-rise. This film was directed by a man named Kirill Sokolov, who did a film called Why Don't You Just Die, which, check out the trailer. This looks pretty sick. You can rent it on Amazon Prime for $2. It stars Zazie Beetz, who you may remember from The Joker, The Harder They Fall, Deadpool 2, and not 3 for some fucking reason. She was also in Bullet Train and in Atlanta, which you can check out on Hulu. This movie also stars Patricia Arquette from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. I love that movie. True Romance, Lost Highway, the TV show Medium, and most recently, Severance. Also stars Heather Graham, who you may remember from Boogie Nights or Austin Powers and the Spy Who Shagged Me, and The Hangover. It also stars Tom Felton, who you may remember from recently Fackham Hall. Pretty funny, stupid comedy, especially if you like the short films that were nominated for Academy Award this year. There was one called Jane Austen's Period Piece or something. I can't remember what it was called. Period Drama. This movie's a lot like that, so I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun. It was with Thomasin McKenzie, other people. What is that guy's name? Whatever, it's not important. Tom Felton's in Fackham Hall. You can also check him out in Rise of the Planet of the Apes and a little film series called Perry Potters. Did I say Hatter Perry's? Cherry Berries? I don't know. It's a magic movies with the kid, you know. Also stars Malaya, who I know I'm mispronouncing her name, which you may remember from Leave the World Behind, Bodies, 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 and the HBO Max TV show Industry. First season, dope. Second season, pretty good. This last season, not a fan, but they're having one final season, so I'll keep watching. Anyways, great actress, though. I dig her a lot. So, that's not the point, dude. The point is They Will Kill You, poppin' or not? Let's talk about the movie. Guess what? It is poppin'! Even more so if you haven't seen a lot of films. This is where I got a little murky in how I felt about the film. Let me explain. I asked Roxy what she thought of the film after we got done watching it, and she said my sentiments exactly, which made me fall in love with her just a bit more. My thoughts after 30 minutes of the film were, this film is definitely giving nods to, or some may dare say, inspired by, or maybe say taking heavy liberties from, or perhaps straight up stealing from someone known to give nods or steal from what he calls pay homage to other works. And that person is Quentin Tarantino. And the movie I'm talking about in particular is Kill Bill. This movie is exactly like this movie. You will watch this movie and think about this movie like crazy. Again, this movie and this movie. Do you already see the similarity? Now, there's nothing wrong with being inspired, and especially if you want to bite off of someone's style, bite off of Tarantino. He bites off of so many other directors, but it's like gratuitous that first 30 minutes. The first 10 of it, I was like, okay, I dig this vibe. I'm thinking Tarantino. I'm cool with that. That's dope. And it just keeps going with Tarantino. And it kind of pissed me off a little bit. Now, in general, the movie is Kill Bill meets Rosemary's Baby, meets Evil Dead, meets Old Boy. Had I specifically never watched any of these films mentioned, I would have thought this movie would have been one of the best films ever made. Not gonna lie. If I hadn't seen any of them, I'd be like, this movie is sick, it's fun, twisted, gory, hilarious, badass. But since I did, I couldn't help but think that its director is just imitating other films, namely Kill Bill. But then the film kept going, and it got weird and fun and crazier and sort of became its own thing, which with clutch cinematography, awesome kick-assery, and the best crawl space chase scene you'll ever see in film. Mark my words. It was very, very impressive. But that's where the cinematography kind of replicated Old Boy, which is fine. Wes Anderson does that as well. I'm not saying that Old Boy came up with it, but when you see the hallway scene in Old Boy, There's not a particular hallway scene in this movie. Maybe you could say the fiery axe is reminiscent of the hallway scene. There's actually several scenes in this that you can say is like the hallway scene in Old Boy, but that is such like a staple in action films that everyone hints at it a little bit, that I'm not knocking it. I just thought the first 30 minutes was more about imitating, but then the rest of the film was making it its own thing. So I'm excited to see what else the director comes up with. Those are the positives. I know a lot of it was me sounding like, he's imitating. That's bad. That's bad. But I just needed to tell you the weakest point of the film. And that is the dialogue and Patricia Arquette's randomized Irish accent. The third or fourth or maybe even seventh time you see her, she has an Irish accent out of nowhere. It makes you say out loud, oh, wait, she's Irish? Then the accent leaves. Then it comes back. She's still great in it acting-wise, but terrible accent. And I'm going to blame the director and not her. Besides that, the film is popping and fun. And you can tell that Zazie Beetz truly went through hell and back with rigorous training and commitment to kick-assery for her character. Seriously proud of Zazie. I love her acting. I think she's super dope. And I'm glad to see her star in something that's original. It's still original. It's just it's like a conglomerate of a bunch of other films, but still, I'll call it original. And I would watch a second one if this came out, and I want to see her star in more things. But man, when you see her action scenes, it's awe-inspiring. I'm like, God damn, dude. I haven't heard her have any accidents filming this, but she must have broke a few bones. And I looked it up. I don't think she did. And if she did, she got back on the horse. She's like a new Tom Cruise, not doing that much crazy stunts like jumping off of a helicopter or something like that, but just the fighting choreography in general. Very impressed by it. Very, very impressed. So yeah, I'm seriously proud of her for being in a bigger budget leading film, and she's doing some crazy stunt work in this. Also, the fiery axe scene, chef's kiss, or as Roxy says, French kiss. Wow. The pig scene was awesome towards the end of the movie. And the fact that we had some good use of female characters being badasses, especially Zazie. And also, shout out to Heather Graham. I didn't think that she'd be in this movie long. And you're going to think she's not in the movie long either, but she comes back a little bit. And she did a lot of dope shit in this movie too. She put in the work. And the fact that all the protagonists are men and women of color brings a smile to my face. I give this film a medium with butter. Maybe it would be a large if it weren't for the excessive kill-billiness and poor dialogue. Terrible, terrible dialogue. And by poor dialogue, I specifically mean bad exposition talk. For example, this said Project Hail Mary this whole time. Fuck. That's annoying. I'm going to have to try to fix that. I don't know how I'm going to fix that. Anyways, damn, that's annoying. I did so well. I give this film a medium with butter. Maybe it would be a large if it weren't for the excessive kill-billiness and the poor dialogue. And by poor dialogue, I mean specifically bad exposition talk. Like, the beginning of the movie, the bad guy walks in, "Come on out. You know, since your mom died, I've had to take care of you, but don't worry. I won't beat you too hard." He says